Did you know that over 85% of motorcycle braking problems come from just one part? What is a brake master cylinder? Today, I'm going to share 9 symptoms of a bad brake master cylinder. So, what's a brake master cylinder? It's the hand lever pump that turns your squeeze into hydraulic pressure. It pushes fluid through the brake line so the caliper clamps the rotor. Sportbike, cruiser, or ADV, doesn't matter. The brake master cylinder plays the same critical role in your braking system. You'll usually find it on the right handlebar at the lever with a small reservoir on top. Let's break down the 9 telltale signs your brake master cylinder is failing before it strands you. Symptom 9, tea-colored fluid and black specks. Open the reservoir cap and you're met with fluid that looks like watered-down cola, dark, murky, and filled with black specks floating like coffee grounds. It smells slightly burnt, maybe a hint of rubber. That's not just old fluid, it's warning you. The rubber cup seals inside the master cylinder are breaking down. Over time, heat cycles and moisture degrade the fluid, and the seals start to shed. Tiny rubber particles mix with the oxidized brake fluid, turning it into a corrosive sludge that eats away at the aluminum bore and other internals. Shine a flashlight directly into the reservoir. If the light bounces off suspended debris, or if you see milky swirls, it's contaminated. Take a white paper towel and dab it inside. If you get dark, greasy streaks or particles, that's seal breakdown. Bonus check. Feel the inside of the reservoir with a cotton swab. Gritty means it's time. Flush the system with fresh DOT, rated brake fluid, and properly bleed the lines. If you spot more black specks after a few rides, plan a full master cylinder rebuild. That's seals, spring, and possibly a new piston. Let it slide and you'll end up with a scarred bore and fading brake power. What costs $20 to $40 in fluid today can easily become a $120 to $250 rebuild kit. Or worse, a complete master cylinder replacement. Let that grime ride long enough, and the lever won't feel right. Next comes that soft, unpredictable mush. Symptom 8, mushy, spongy lever. You squeeze the brake lever and it feels like pressing on a marshmallow. There's no hard stop, just slow, soft resistance. You're using more grip, but the bike slows less. That's trapped air or internal bypass. A pitted bore or worn cup seal lets air sneak past the piston. Since air compresses, the hydraulic pressure doesn't build properly. The longer you ride, the worse it feels. Zip tie the lever to the bar overnight. If it's softer in the morning, air's creeping in. Tap the brake line with a screwdriver. If bubbles rise to the reservoir, you've got internal aeration. Bleed the brakes. If that firmness fades again after a few rides, rebuild the master cylinder. Replace the primary and secondary seals and inspect the bore for pits. Ignore it, and you'll lose 30 to 50% of your stopping power. That's not just dangerous, it's expensive. Expect $90 to $250 for a replacement master if neglected. Keep riding on mush, and soon the bite point won't stay put. It starts to wander. Symptom 7, wandering bite point. One stop grabs early, the next grabs late. You start to chase the bite point with your fingers, never sure when it'll engage. That's fluid bypassing a weak seal or uneven wear inside the bore. As the bike heats up, pressure consistency drops and the lever position changes. It's unpredictable and dangerous. Mark the lever travel with tape. Ride for 10 minutes, heat the system, then test again. If the lever moves more than about a quarter inch before biting, it's bypassing. Rebuild the master cylinder with new seals and a fresh spring. Inspect for scoring. Inconsistent pressure means the internal cups aren't sealing evenly. Ignore this and expect uneven braking that triggers ABS early or lifts the rear wheel unexpectedly. Repairs run $60 to $120 now, or $300 plus later if it fails completely. When the bite won't stay put, next you'll feel the lever creep under steady pressure. Symptom 6. Lever creep at a stop. You're stopped at a light. You hold steady pressure and feel the lever slowly sink toward the grip. You didn't move your hand. The pressure just fades. That's internal fluid bypass. The master's primary cup seal is leaking internally, sending pressure back into the reservoir. The system can't hold line pressure. Test it with the bike off. Pull the lever firmly and hold for 20 seconds. If it sinks, the seal's done. You might even see micro bubbles rising in the reservoir while you hold. That's air movement from bypass. Rebuild the master cylinder. Piston, seals, spring. Clean and polish the bore or replace it if scored. Always refill with clean, correct DOT fluid. If ignored, this can cause total pressure loss when holding on a hill. The bike rolls forward, or worse, into traffic. Fixing it early costs $120 to $250. Waiting until it causes a crash costs much more. If pressure escapes there, it can misbehave the other way too. Sometimes the brake won't release. But before the next symptom, and it's a big one, hit subscribe. That way, when your bike starts acting up, you'll already know what's coming. And leave a comment if you ever experienced one of these symptoms. Symptom 5. Brake drag after you let go. You release the lever, but the bike still feels heavy, like something is holding it back. After just a few miles, you catch a whiff of hot metal. The rotor glows faintly, radiating heat you can feel even standing beside it. That's brake drag. Your pads are clamping when they should be free. You're cooking your brakes without even touching the lever. The cause sits inside the master cylinder. The return port is blocked, or the internal seals have swollen. Fluid pressure stays trapped in the brake line. Instead of releasing, the caliper pistons stay partially extended, dragging the pads against the rotor. That constant friction generates heat, warping rotors and boiling fluid. You can test it easily. Pop the reservoir cap and squeeze the lever slowly. When you release it, a tiny jet of fluid should squirt back into the reservoir. If there's no jet, that port is clogged. Next, spin your front wheel by hand. It should coast freely. If it stops within a single revolution, you've got drag. To fix it, carefully clear the return port using a fine wire and clean fluid. Replace any seals that look swollen, cracked, or jelly-like. If the bore is corroded, rebuild or replace the master entirely. Keep riding with drag, and you'll destroy pads, glaze rotors, and boil the fluid, turning a $30 flush into $200 to $600 in repairs. Heat and drag also destroy seals faster than anything else. Ignore it, and the next clue is even messier. Leaking brake fluid where everything should be bone dry. Symptom 4. Weeping at the lever or reservoir. You glance down at the lever and see a faint sheen under the dust boot. Dust sticks to it, forming a gray paste that catches the light. Maybe the reservoir cap has a crusty white ring. That moisture isn't sweat. It's brake fluid sneaking out. A cracked cap gasket or torn boot is enough to start the leak. Under braking pressure, a few drops escape. At first, it's subtle, just tacky residue. But as it grows, air sneaks in, fluid seeps out, and suddenly, your lever travel increases. Over time, your brakes fade. Here's how to confirm it. Wrap a clean paper towel around the master cylinder and ride for 10 minutes. Fresh wetness afterward means a leak. Pull back the rubber boot and look for stickiness or wet film. That's a weeping piston seal. Start simple. Replace the cap gasket and boot. If that doesn't fix it, rebuild the piston assembly with new cup seals. Wipe everything with water, not solvent, since DOT fluid is corrosive and will strip paint instantly. Neglect it, and you're inviting more air, corrosion, and fading brakes. A $10 gasket now prevents a $150 repaint later, and losing brake pressure mid-ride could cost a lot more. Let that leak persist, and the system will start pulling air in, tiny bubbles you'll soon see dancing in your reservoir. Symptom 3. Aeration and microbubbles. You squeeze the lever at idle and notice tiny bubbles rising into the reservoir like soda fizz. The lever feels fine for a few minutes, then fades. Those aren't random. That's air entering your hydraulic system through worn seals or a scarred bore. Inside the master, every lever pull draws a tiny volume of fluid through the ports. If the bore is pitted or the seals hardened, microscopic air gets sucked in on the return stroke. As the fluid moves, cavitation creates more bubbles, turning solid hydraulic force into compressible foam. You can test this easily. Attach a clear hose to the caliper bleeder nipple and pump the lever slowly. If you see steady foam or tiny air pockets flowing out, air is coming from upstream, most likely the master. Tap the brake line gently and watch the reservoir. If bubbles appear after tapping, they're escaping from the master itself. To fix it, rebuild the master cylinder. Replace both primary and secondary cup seals, and inspect the bore using a flashlight. If you see dull spots, pitting, or deep scratches, replace the entire housing. Aeration makes your lever feel inconsistent. Good one stop, soft the next. Don't gamble. Air turns hydraulic pressure into panic. A replacement master costs $90 to $250, far cheaper than the result of losing brakes in traffic. And once those bubbles build up, your next symptom appears. You'll have to pump the lever just to get braking pressure back. Symptom 2. Needs pumping to build pressure. You pull the brake lever once. Nothing. Twice. It grabs. Third pull. Finally solid. That's your cue. Your master cylinder is bypassing fluid internally. The primary seal isn't sealing on the first stroke, letting fluid leak past instead of building pressure. When you pump repeatedly, you're moving fluid faster than it can leak by, briefly sealing the system. But as you ride, that seal relaxes again. It's like squeezing a sponge. You need repetition to get a firm feel. Try this quick test. Mark your first lever pull with tape. Pump twice and compare the position. If the second pull feels firmer or engages sooner, you've confirmed the bypass. It means your master cylinder's seals are shot. Fixing it requires a rebuild. Replace both seals, the spring, and clean the return port thoroughly. If the piston is corroded or etched, replace it too. It's a $60 to $100 job for parts, maybe an hour or two in the garage. Ignore it and you risk total failure. I once met a rider who kept pumping his brakes through city traffic. The lever went dead at the next light. He went down hard. Don't be that rider. Pumping means failure in progress. Keep riding like that and the next pull could do nothing at all, complete brake loss. Symptom 1. Lever to the bar, no pressure. You grab a handful of brake and it hits the grip like it's not even connected. There's no resistance, no bite, no slowing, just heart-stopping panic. This is total master cylinder failure. The system can't build any hydraulic pressure at all. Usually the seals have failed completely, or the reservoir has run dry from a hidden leak. Sometimes, debris blocks the return or feed port, preventing any pressure from forming. Either way, you're out of braking power. Check the reservoir first. If it's empty, you've got a major leak. If it's full but there's still no pressure even after careful bleeding, the master's internals are finished. The piston may be scarred or the bore cracked. At this point, don't gamble on a rebuild, replace it. A quality OEM or aftermarket master runs $120 to $300 depending on the model. It's the heart of your braking system. Once it fails, every pull is a risk. This is the worst case scenario. You could crash, total the bike, or worse. All from ignoring the early warnings, the dirty fluid, the mush, the leaks. Replace it before it reaches this stage. A few hours in the garage saves you from hospital bills and a destroyed ride. Check coolant weekly, peek at the weep hole every wash, and flush every 2 years. Replace pump seals around 20,000 to 30,000 miles. A $40 seal kit beats a $2,000 top end every time. Now that you know the signs of a dying water pump, your next move? 9 symptoms of a bad motorcycle water pump. It's the checklist that saves your engine before it overheats. If this saved your bike or make you think twice, make sure to like and subscribe and comment if you do your maintenance yourself.